Hello, candle lovers. Fatima here, creator and owner of Peace and Love Candles. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a video about aromatherapy and how it works. And if you're not familiar with aromatherapy, you might want to go back and watch that video before you watch this video. But in that video, I talked about going over each aroma that we carry and the top ones, and talk about the attributes and how it can aid in your aromatherapy. So today I wanted to pick up on sage. Sage has become one of my favorite candles in my aroma and scents in my aromatherapy journey. And I know that it is something that has been used for centuries and centuries before me. And it's kind of gotten a bad rap or a stigma as been some backwoods witch doctor, hippie, urban legend to it. And no offense to any backwoods, hippie, or witch doctors, right? But in their defense, scientists have observed that sage smoke can clear some airborne bacteria. So we know that there is some science to sage and the benefits of the aromatherapy journey. So sage is known as a mood booster and an energy cleanser and a cleanser overall. So when you hear people describe aromas, often you hear them talk about notes, right? And in order for me to understand it, when I first started to do my research about different aromas and their attributes, I kind of put it in line with musicians and how they craft chords and how they craft songs. And so aromatherapists are basically crafting scents and aromas the way that musicians are crafting those songs. So when you hear about different scents and people describe perfume, or they may describe candles, or they may describe different aromas, they sometimes they'll talk about notes. So there's always a top note, in which that's the first thing that you smell when you grab something, and it grabs your attention, and you're like, your olfactory glands start to go wild. And usually that attention grabber, that top note, which we want to call in the music world the intro, and that usually lasts for about 5 or 10 minutes. So when you're burning your candle, it usually lasts for about, that note usually lasts for about 5 or 10 minutes. Then there's a middle note, and that's the body of the blend of this. And that usually can last anywhere from 5 minutes to 2 hours of you burning your candles. So that'll stay in the room for that. And when you talk about sage, sage is usually a bottle. It's the body. It's the middle notes of any type of aroma. And so it's kind of the verse when you talk about your music world. And then there's the bottom notes, or the base. And so it usually starts to appear when you're burning your candle. Usually after the 1 to 2 hour mark, it starts to lean its way up. And it usually can last anywhere from 2 hours to days. And so usually when you're smelling a cold candle, before you burn it, you're smelling those top notes. And then after you burn it, you're smelling the top notes and mostly the bottom notes, or the base notes. And so when we talk about aromatherapy, and that's usually the base notes are usually your course. And so it's what you're going to remember, the thing in the song that's going to keep on you. Remember those little words. That's your course. And so that's what when you're walking past your candle and it's not lit, and you're like, what's that smell? Or you're walking past your perfume, and you're like, what's that smell? It's usually that base, that bottom notes that you're smelling that lasts that long time, or it stays in your room for a long time. So in a sage candle, that fresh, in our peace and love sage candles, our top notes are that fresh. So when you first smell it, it smells kind of fresh and openly, and that's the top notes of it. And then we get to the middle notes of this sage candle, and it's that bright herbal sage middle notes of that scent. And what's also in the peace and love sage candle is the sweet. And remember, we said that sweet scent, it triggers that comfort. And so you're going to get that comfort when you burn your sage candle. And that's that bottom of the sage, of this sage candle. And that's the bottom notes. And that's that scent that's going to last in your room, or your as you're walking past, you're most going to smell that sweet bottom note. And the fact that Peace and Love candles is made with 100% soy wax and made with the top fragrance oils, that makes a difference. It makes a difference not only in the way the candle burns, but it also makes a difference in the effectiveness of your aromatherapy. So even when you're choosing any type of candle that you choose, make sure that it's they're using the best wax and the best fragrance oil for you if you're looking for that aromatherapy attribute to aid and add to your wellness journey. So I hope that we have a new standing about sage. And what type of standing is that? Understanding. Peace and love to you always, and over everything, be well.